It's live. I'm live. You're live. We're live together. Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to webinar day 3. It's our last webinar. If you've been here, you know the drill. You know what we're up to. Okay. Go ahead and say hello to me in the chat. Okay. Oh, Erica back. Hello. Oh, sorry. Now, see, I got to go over here and check and make sure I'm live where I'm supposed to be. No echo. No echo allowed. So come in, get comfortable, say hello. We are going to get this live started. If you haven't been here before, you know I like to drop all the goodness, all the good stuff, lots of information, lots of stories, lots of real world examples from myself of having been where you are. And so we are talking about monetizing your Black woman brilliance today. That is what our entire session. Oh, okay. I see we are live on LinkedIn and YouTube. So if you are here, say hello. I'm super excited for you to be here. So as we wait for our friends to join, if you're new, and even if you're a familiar face, I know that I see y'all. Okay. Hi, Erica. Hi, Tiara. Welcome, or Tiara. Let me know which way to say it. But yeah, I'm so excited for you all to be here. So you know the drill. Let me know how's it going in the chat. So I always start off with a prompt. So say hello. Oh, thank you for the little claps. So you know I always like to start us off with a little bit of a prompt to say hello. So if you are here, say hey in the chat, say your name, where you're watching in from, and where you are in your business right now. Has the business launched? Is the business maybe in the foundation stage, right? You're getting stuff set up. Are you at a stage where you've actually got a client before, and so now you're scaling and growing? Hi, Anaima. Welcome, girl. How are you? Welcome to the live lesson. Hi, Ginger. Hi, Tamlin. Hi, everyone. Okay, the girlies are joining. I'm super excited for you all to be here. So again, as we start today, so you'll want to share your name, where you're from if you feel comfortable. You could just stay state. We could stay safe over here. Internet safety, okay? We're not having no strangers come find us on the internet. But where your name, where you're from. Hi, Nicole. Hey, it doesn't. It's always so funny who it tells me who your name is on the other side. But hey, so your name, where you are from, and what stage you are in your business. And if you're like, okay, I don't have a business yet, maybe I'm thinking about a business, maybe I already have a business idea, but I haven't quite launched it. Maybe you are here, you do have a business, but you are okay. Precious said, finishing up the website. That's what we want to see. Period. Oh, I am so good, Naima. I'm excited for this live. I'm really just excited that this series is here. This is my first webinar series. So I've done 3 webinars in one go, but they've all been the same topic. And so it's really good to just try something a little bit different and do a webinar that I was sitting here and like, okay, we're doing all different topics that relates to my area of expertise, what I love doing, what I love helping Black women with. So go ahead. Don't be shy. Let us know. It's for some accountability, okay? Let us know where you are in the business. So for me today, what I'm going to do is I always talk about lessons. Now, if you've been to the other lives, you know I had slides. Your girl was tired, okay? Your girl was like, ooh, no slides for today, but we are still going to get into all of the good details. I'm still going to be giving you some things that are really going to be strategic and helpful and really help you to be mindful about the type of business that you're building. One of the things for me that is so important today and will continue to be important is for Black women to build a business that's actually in alignment. And so what that looks like is that so many of us will build a business, sometimes out of necessity, sometimes it's out of what we think we should be building, sometimes we kind of default into what we've done in our career, but we don't necessarily follow and start to build a business that's aligned with our future state, our lifestyle, what we're passionate about. And so I'm going to be telling you about my story because the reality is, okay, If I had the business today that I had when I started, I would have hated my business. I probably would have shifted the business and it would have all been built for naught. So if we're being honest here, hindsight is 2020. I am so glad that business was not successful, okay? I'm really glad that right here, right now, I have the business as a Career Love Coach, Career Love LLC, and what I do today. So we're going to talk about my story, how I got here. And as always, I really want, y'all are okay. Y'all get in there, get in the chat. So one thing for me that's important is that I'm building a safe space. So I want you to show up as your full self. Show up as you are. If you don't feel confident, if you're not, if you're not quite sure you're where you need to be, that is absolutely okay. Just show up as you are. It is totally fine. And also build some connections. So go ahead and follow the other Black women in the chat. Okay, let's build this community here. That is my whole goal, for us to be Black women supporting other Black women. And we know that we need to in this time and space. Okay, so I'm going to catch up with the chat. So let me answer the question. So if you're just joining and you didn't hear the prompt, this is an interaction. Okay, so if you didn't know, this is not a passive live. Okay, I can't see all of y'all, but in spirit, I'm watching you all. So let me know. Say hello in the chat. Say where you're from if you feel comfortable, and then what stage of your business you're in. So for me in my business, I left my full-time job in January. I've been in this exciting space of really growing and scaling my business because I've been in a space where I didn't really need that full-time job. Okay, I could do this by myself. I could get my own paycheck. I could be out here doing things that are fun on the internet, such as full-time coaching, creating the community that we're going to talk about later, just doing things that really light me up content-wise. And that has been truly fulfilling. And that has been this sense of stability that nobody can take from me, right? And so that being said, I'm in this scaling phase, right? I'm in this growing phase. I'm in this, what is the most aligned business for me that I'm building, right? So, okay, so I'm going to check in the chat. Okay, so we have Tiara, which is tuning in from Dallas, business in the startup stage, but building clientele, makeup professional in Dallas. Okay. Ginger said, just graduated my master's in wisdom. Oh, wisdom, age of 44. Oh, yes, because it's never too late to get that master's degree, period. Still in the idea phase. Okay, this is going to be super helpful. Okay. And then Kimberly from Orlando. I don't have a business yet, but still exploring possibilities. Hey, Lavangela, welcome. Oh, somebody's dropping grants. I can't see it. Something's not uploading everywhere. Anyway, thanks whoever dropping grants. Go ahead and drop it. Black women need funding. Erica, I'm still in the learning phase. I have not identified a business idea for myself yet. Okay. Oh, and I'm thinking about venturing to something new. Oh, did I read those twice? Okay, sorry if I'm reading things twice. I don't know what's going on. I think this is Nicole, even though my comments aren't showing up on here anymore. So I think that's you, but you on your get the out of here corporate stage, because yes, it's trash. And that's part of my story too. Oh, thank you. I did period. Step out on faith. I have a mission and I'm going for it. Who said I gotta go? You just got here. No, I'm just kidding. That's so fine. I hope all is well. I'm gonna try and get my comments to come back up because they're not coming up on here, so I can't see who all is commenting. Oh, Tamerlane, welcome. Glad you came. Okay. All right, so let's get into this, okay? Let's get into this because the reality is, and I've been talking about this, so I mean, I'm not the only one on the internet talking about this. Like, so many Black women have been displaced in this new year, right? We know what this job market looks like. We know about the displacement, the bias, and the discrimination that we face as Black women, right? And I think that's why, not that I wouldn't hold anybody for creating a side hustle or say that, oh, you don't really need that. But at the end of the day, like, the security that comes with that additional stream of revenue, and also for you to be able to make an exit and be in your, Black woman bliss abundance phase is just unmatched, right? By being able to say, I have a business that I have, whether it's something that you're eventually hoping is an exit point for you, the GTFO, thank you, Nicole, or it's something where, hey, I just want that stability. I just want something that I have on the side that could, get me an extra little thing here and there, pay for the trip, whatever. So no matter what you're here for, we're going to be talking about different ways that you can really embed your Black woman brilliance into this and to create additional, and at least one additional stream of income. And that is why I talk about service-based businesses here. So if you're somebody that you were maybe looking more products or something like that, maybe if you were, and I should say online services for me, right? Because that's one of those things that that's really in my area, right? So if you're in maybe one of those areas, it might not be the best fit for you. I always want you to know what I'm doing, right? But while I have like a product in my business, my shirts, right? I'm not necessarily getting into that product bag today. Okay. We're talking about lots of services. So I just want y'all to know what you're getting into and what we're talking about today. And I'm also talking about my story. Okay. Oh, hello. Okay. Social work to human resources. Okay. So we're going to talk about that. So Fem on YouTube said, hello there. I'm switching from social work to human resources. But tonight we are talking about monetizing your brilliance. So this is about creating streams of income outside of work for that additional stability, right? And so I hope that maybe you're thinking about different ways that you can kind of monetize that. Okay. Ginger said, I'm loving that phrase. Okay. I love that because Nicole says GTFO and I say it's my FAFO fund. Like my employer decided to mess around and they're finding out because I'm not going to be there. I won't be there. Do not count me in. I'm out. Don't play with me. Okay. So let's talk about a little bit of my story of building my business, right? Let me tell you this. I started my business in 2018. Yeah, I've been that long, 2018. And I'm going to be honest with you, I did not really know what I was doing with my business until I got to like 21, 22. So I've been through the trenches, okay? I've been crying over my business, feeling hopeless about my business, not knowing where to start, overwhelmed in my business. So if those are any of the things that you're feeling today, I got you, love. We're going to go through the full gambit of emotions. I'm telling you the story. I'm telling you all the pitfalls and all the things that you should avoid. And so for me, when I started my business, and this is where the shoulds come in, right? I was like, oh, I'm in human resources. I do a lot of recruitment. That should be my business, right? I should be teaching other millennial professionals how to deal with navigating their career from the lens of an HR professional. Silly me. Mercedes was like, oh, I didn't know that y'all was out here hating on the HR professionals. I didn't know that y'all was upset with us. What did I do? I'm out here helping people. And so, no, I'm just joking. But that being said, like it was a brand that I just felt like was really embedded into what I was doing at that time in that place. So I launched this business. It was called HR HR for Millennials. Oh, I'm gonna stay as long as you can. You're okay. It's okay. We got the replay. I can't see who's posting what anymore, so it's being a hot mess on the tablet. So I don't. It's not updating, so that's what it is. Sorry, I don't know who you are anymore. Okay, so sorry. So I launched this business. It was called HR for Millennials. My whole purpose behind this business was to say, I'm going to help other millennials better navigate their career based on what I've learned as an HR professional. Now, the thing that people be saying, mad, people don't be liking this. It's okay. It's okay if you don't like HR. I understand. A lot of us have had some traumatic experiences with HR. I have other videos about it. I have a podcast I need to do. But that being said, right? So I started this business and I'm going to say this, like sometimes we go through and we do all the shoulds and we invest in a lot of programs, we invest in a lot of things, but we don't actually center ourselves in that. We center everyone else's advice. And I think the problem with that specifically for Black women is that we see a lot of the tech bros and a lot of the people talking about 10X this, and this is how you build your business, and this is how you make digital market overnight. But at the end of the day, like, Black women need to be in alignment, at least most of the Black women that I know, right? It's why we are in roles that are more service driven, helping the world, helping others. It's how we're built. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that or without that. I think we're all conditioned and that's something to unpack, but us being people who are just really about others and about community for the most part, I think it puts us into roles where we want to make sure that the work that we do aligns, right? And so when we go out and we watch these videos and take these programs with these tech bros and coming in there with their masculine energy, we end up building businesses that are not aligned with us, right? And so that's exactly what I did. I did a couple of programs with my mom. I think all of them were dudes. There was one, there was one woman. Actually, the first course that I took that was from a woman was the first sale that I made. I'm gonna just put that out there. Okay. But I went through this program of like doing all this market research and analysis and really trying to figure out, okay, this is what my market needs. You know what my market said that millennials needed? they said that they needed networking and they said that they needed resume writing. Okay, so I went and I talked to all of those people. Oh, okay, hello. So Fem said I have a creative wellness workshop and consulting business, Voices of Healing. Oh, I love this. And I said I've been following a lot of HR recruiters and it's really helped me. Okay, thank you. We'll take the HR love. Please, more of that. And those relationships have been vital, period. Awesome. Yeah, I count myself in one of those. Just kidding. Okay, so I was going through all this process of doing all this market research. I was talking to anybody who identified as a millennial professional. And then I built courses that were about networking. I launched a whole course about networking and nobody bought it. It was crickets. I did all the right things. I did the quote unquote market research. I did all of the calls. I did the quizzes and I set up everything and I went and recorded all of the videos and crickets, crickets. I was like, oh, I must have done something wrong. And so I went back to the drawing board. I came out with a resume writing service or something like that. I did not, and that was pre this other person. Oh, hearts. And so I did that, right? And then I still didn't make any sales with a different type of service that I was creating. It wasn't until I went through and I name drop, you want to know, I'll tell you later. But I went through a course to create a course and I launched a course all about resume writing. Now, here's the problem with that, right? My whole brand in there was really trying to help people really understand how to tell their story. And it had very like corporate type of branding, very different from what it looks like today. And yeah, I made sales. I was running ads. I was doing a lot of work. I was putting out a lot of content on Facebook. I don't even play with Facebook anymore. Okay. So that's how y'all know I was out of alignment. Facebook and Instagram, some streams and whatever else. But then overall, I really was not making a profit. I made a couple of more dollars than what I was investing in it. And then I was like, oh, I'm done with the courses. Let me go ahead and do coaching, right? Let me go ahead and work one-on-one. So I launched a little coaching program where it was like unlimited coaching for basically you signed up for a month and I would coach you on all things, resume, interviewing, all of those things until you landed your job. And so that was one of the first times I was actually not drowning in business related debt and was actually making more revenue than I was spending on ads. But your girl is all organic today. I don't spend any money on ads. And so the thing about this, though, this entire time I was investing in all of these systems, investing in ads, and my business was at a debt. It was in debt. And so I talk about this all the time. I probably was like $20,000 of business debt. Y'all are getting more than $20,000 of feedback and guidance based on what did not work for me. So all of these things I'm telling you right now, do not do. In 2020, I decided to rebrand my business. And of course, we all know what happened in 2020, right? It was the unaliving of George Floyd. And so I decided at that point that I was just done. I didn't know what else to do with myself. I was like, I don't even want to be in these spaces and educating and doing all of this for anybody that doesn't look like me. Let's be honest. That's how I felt about it. And so I decided to shift my entire business to working with Black professionals. Now you're like, oh, Mercedes today, period. Whoever put the light bulb, period. And so today I'm in a space where I'm like, hey, no, I work with Black women. So you're probably wondering, like, what happened? How did you get from running a business that's called HR for Millennials and to building a business that really serves Black women, where I think at least I'm very, very aligned with what I want to do and how I like to show up and my brand and what it stands for. And so what I'm talking about in this webinar for the next hour or so is about everything that I've learned, all of the lessons, what caused that shift, and how I got super clear about who I was going to be in my business, who I was going to serve, and how I was going to serve them best, and why, my clients love me and my community members love me. So because we're not doing slides today, I got me my little notebook. Okay, so if you see me looking down. So one of the things that we're going to talk about is, one, I got really clear on who I was speaking to, right? I just said that because I said I speak to Black women and I speak to our issues and our challenges and what we need. And then the second part is, so I had to figure out what my message, I put it backwards. I had to figure out what my message was in my area of expertise. That is our Black women brilliance, and we get to monetize that, right? So a lot of times as Black women, we're taught that we can't monetize things. Period, we can. Number two is that I learned how to speak to my audience. Who is my audience? What do they need? And how do I speak with them? And how does that impact my business and how I show up? And then the third thing, of course, is relaunching, right? So launching, we're going to talk about you launching your business from scratch, right? But for me, that meant relaunching an entirely new brand, an entirely new product suite, everything from scratch. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. And I'm also going to give you some other options too, if you are in a space where you really need to like increase your income. So yeah. Oh, okay. We got Alicia says creative workshop consulting sounds exciting. I think I found you on IG. Will follow. Okay, yeah, go ahead and follow. Okay, Alicia also has a wellness brand. Period. Period. We ain't putting out no names because I know the girlies on YouTube are like, don't get out of my business. Okay, so if you are here today, has any of this resonated with you? What do you think is really holding you back in your really launching a successful business right now? What do you think is holding you back? Because I want to know, because I really want to be able to speak to some of those things that come out. Oh, okay. So we already have one. So Fem said burnt out. And I think it might be in relation to a couple other things. I don't know if it's all business, but burnt out. So I totally hear you. That was absolutely a barrier for me. So as I was building my business, I was always in these like high impact roles, and it did not allow me to really spend time. It did not really allow me to spend the time that I needed on my business to grow and develop it and do the marketing and do the content and really just maximize what I was doing. So burnout is a huge thing. Okay, Barbara says community. Okay, so you're saying community is not the journeys being parallel. It's rough out here, okay? It's rough out here building a business outside of your 9 to 5. Barbara says community. So that's an interesting thing. A lot of times when you take these business courses, they tell you a lot of the times of like, oh, well, you are a summation of who you hang out with. And it's like, I agree. But like for us as Black women, who is that community, and how do we feel safe in that community, right? Because if you're telling me, oh, I'm going to go join this business group, okay, well, do they look like me? Are they going to provide a safe space for me? Is there going to be bias when I'm interacting with you, right? Are you going to treat me the same as others in your community? And then that leads you to say, okay, well, I need to find safety in my community. Well, guess what? We have an equity issue, right? We don't get access to the same funding. We don't get access to the same information, to the business resources, right? However you want to shake it, financial, mentoring, otherwise, right? And so that's one of the things that I talk about a lot is that, I'm fortunate in my world to have a mom and a dad, right, who have run businesses, and other family members who have run businesses, right? So period, Barbara, like who is that community, right? And like, how do we tap into community, right? I'm gonna talk about the community. Okay. Ginger said, determine what I want to focus on. I'm in the events industry and want to consult and become a speaker. Period, Ginger. I love this. Yeah, I love it. So in terms of focus, right? I think that's an interesting thing. We're going to talk about something that's going to be related to that, which is called the jobs to be done. And sometimes when we're launching our business, we kind of know what maybe discipline or area we want to be in, but we don't necessarily know where to focus. So a lot of times by getting really clear on who we're serving, we can better define where we should focus and how. And I'm going to give you a couple ideas for that, period. Okay, any other thoughts? Anything else that you feel like is holding you all back? I'm going to give you all another minute. I like to pause. Y'all know I always got my cute coffee cups. Okay, I don't have the owl today, but that's okay. Okay, I don't see anything else, but of course, as always, like put other thoughts and things that you're kind of thinking through about what might be holding you back so I can address that with you all today. Okay, so the first thing, so let me back up. So Black woman brilliance is really understanding like who you are, your experiences, what sets you, oh, sorry, I said Black woman bliss. Black woman brilliance is all about defining and understanding like who you are, your experience, what makes you unique, your expertise, and figuring out a way to package that to really meet whatever it is you want to do in business, right? And so in my role, I always talk about ikigai, right? And so we've talked about ikigai ad nauseum at this point. So if you want to go back and you want to look at ikigai and understand what it is, it's a great exercise to go through. I've just already talked about it enough, so I'm not going to repeat because I know we have a lot of the same people here. But Ikigai is one of the best ways, in my opinion, to find your Black woman brilliance. If you need the link later, just let me know, drop it. We'll go back to it or whatever. We can talk about it at the end. But it's a way to get clarity, right? About which direction you should be going and how you should be moving. So when you talk about focus, I want us to stop thinking, and particularly if we are in a place of instability, we will often just go to the next thing that we feel like will help us feel more stable. But then a lot of times we are building at a place that we don't want to be. And so I'm going to encourage you, before you launch the business or whatever you decide to do after this, before you take action, to make sure that it's in alignment with you. Are you excited about this? Do you feel like it aligns with your values? Do you feel like it's a message that you want to support long term? Do you feel like it's in alignment with how you see the world, right? And if it's not, sometimes it means we're building a business out of alignment. And I see your comments. I'm going to look. But I want to finish this really quick. So one of the things that's helpful for you to define your Black woman brilliance outside of that Ikigai exercise, which I really think you should do, I want you to start asking yourself, what is your area of expertise? What do you do really well? That is part of Ikigai, but we're just breaking it down like some simple questions. So one of the ways to really think about that is to say, what do people really ask you about? Like, what if people really value your opinion or your resources? Sometimes that can be more of like a technical skill. So for instance, mine would be recruitment, right? Or mine would be human resources, like employment law, right? But we also have really soft skills. So for instance, one of mine is continuous improvement, right? I really like that. Coaching, training, right? Those are skills that can kind of be in multiple different industries, but they are also things that I feel like are in my area of expertise that I would be able to monetize, right? So we're thinking monetizing skills that we want to monetize. So the girlies will sometimes tell me, oh, I love cooking. Okay, do you want to cook for people online? Do you want to cook for people offline? Do you want to make a cookbook? Like, are you going to monetize that skill? And if you're like, no, that would take the joy from me, just kind of put that to the side, right? I'm talking about skills that you feel like you'd be comfortable monetizing. So I want you to drop that in the chat. What's one area of expertise? We don't have to go through the whole thing, but I just want to get the juices flowing. What's one area of expertise that you can monetize? Drop it in the chat. Okay. We also have money. Ooh. Okay. And I'm gonna tag that because I think a lot of times money is a limiting belief for starting a business. Okay. Agreed. Burnout and afraid of failure. Both my parents are business owners and are always encouraged me to establish a business, but I have no significant ideas that I feel passionate about. Okay, Kimberly. Well, what you got to say about the expertise? What do you feel? And then berries, Alicia said, berries, I'm working on sharing my voice and trusting people will value your gifts properly. Oh, yeah. Okay, Alicia, do you have anybody that comes to you and asks you for help? Are there any gifts? Yes, Barbara, human resources. Lavangela said facilitation. Tell me more about the facilitation. Facilitation of what? Oh gosh. Okay. Cream Elixir Studios. Hey Andrew. Cryptocurrency media production. Are you here to sell stuff, Cream Elixir Studios? Okay, Barbara said recruitment. Yes. Okay. So now that you have that, let's say it could be an area that's monetized. What would be your message that you would want to tell other people in relation to that expertise, right? Because we have a skill set that we can monetize, but a skill set that we can monetize comes with a message, right? So as a career love coach, right? I have a message for Black women, right? My message for Black women is embedded in this idea of career love. A lot of us think that we can't have a career that we love. That is my message at the end of the day, right? And of course, I have Black women who are in my space who maybe they love their career, or maybe they know that it's not for them long term. They do want to build that 5 to 9. So what about a business that you love too, right? It's kind of connected in this ecosystem of our journey through life and doing work that's fulfilling. So how do we make that jump from career to business, right? And of course, how does that ultimately impact our lifestyle, which is where my Black woman bliss messaging comes from, right? So this is all. Thanks, Andrew. Good Lord. Okay. So you have this area of expertise, right? So let's say mine is continuous improvement, coaching, training, right? I'm coaching, right? live coaching, right? If I'm responding to you, I'm coaching you live, right? If I'm delivering this training into you to you in a way that helps you take action, it's training, right? My area of expertise. But my message behind that is, hey, you can love what you do. Hey, you can be fulfilled. Hey, you can have the stability that you need. Yes, you can have a lifestyle that you love. That's my message. Okay, I'm looking now. Oh, okay. There's some good stuff going on. Okay, ladies, I see it going. Okay, so we have Barbara says training and development. Ginger said events, framework, and strategy. Okay, I love that because you know how many people don't have any intention behind their events, Ginger? I'm hearing it. Okay, Alicia said, I hold safe space for reflection and transformation. Everyone comes to me. Okay, so Alicia, I'm going to pause right there. Okay, because you have wellness, right? So they come to you for reflection and transformation. That seems so aligned with wellness, right? So then if they're coming to you, there's no doubt that people will see your value. They're already asking for it. Okay, somebody said life consulting. I'm sorry that I can't see. Oh, Sabrina. Hey, girl. Hey, life consulting. Students always come to me with a myriad of questions. Period. Yes. Life coaching. Yes. Helping with direction. Okay. Levangela said leading sessions or change management. Okay. Period. Now that's specific. That's a monetizable thing for facilitation. Period. Okay. Ginger, a lot of women ask about my story and how I juggled going back to school, being a mother of 2 and a wife while working a full-time job where I have to travel. Okay. So do you think that's part, Ginger, do you think that the event management can become part of that message, or do you think they're separate? Because I see some pieces where they could come together, but I'd love to hear what you're thinking. Okay. Barbara, make money connecting people. Ooh, that is so recruiter coded. And I wonder how you could be right. Like, we're in a space where people are so frustrated with the job market. I have so many people come out and reach, and you are absolutely a connector, right? Like, I see your posts on all of the girlies that I want to be connected to, or some that I am. Like, you are absolutely building connections online. And so maybe it's not online, but ooh, yeah. Oh, hey, Precious. So you missed the question. So we were talking about our area of expertise and our message, right? As a way to really bring together this idea of something that we can monetize using our Black woman brilliance, which is our knowledge, our skills, our experience, things that we have that we can contribute to be able to monetize. And so my first question was, what was your area of expertise? And the second one is, what is the message that you have to tell about that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I love to ask, if you're having a really hard time with this, is what is something that you would absolutely love to talk about all day, every day? You'd love to do it. And one of the things that I talk about is recruitment a lot. I be telling my clients and anybody that's talking to me online about recruitment stuff, I was like, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Okay, 1 second. I'm blocking something. Not the people talking about crypto on here. Okay. Not Andrew talking about crypto. Okay. So what is something that you could wake up and do every single day? So let me tell you about my story while you're thinking about this. Keep putting your thoughts in the chat. But one of the things I told you about this leap of how I said, oh my gosh, I was coaching, Black professionals. And I made this leap to say, well, I made several leaps, but the leap to say I'm going to really primarily coach Black women. And one of the things that I did is I had hired a branding coach. Now, y'all ain't got to hire a branding coach, okay? But you got mindset blocks, and, you go ahead and invest a couple $1,000s in a branding coach, okay? I told y'all I was in the hole. I was dedicated to figuring this out, okay? And so I hired a branding coach, and she was like, well, I want you to find your top 5 clients. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, those are all like Black women. I have one ride or die ally, white woman in that group. I love her down. Okay. If she's here, I love you. Okay. But that being said, most of my clients that I really loved working with, 90% of them, Black women. Okay. And so I had to say, oh, I mean, yeah, I guess I didn't like working with the other people. And it wasn't that they were bad people necessarily, but it was like, what lights me up in a coaching session? Talking about the experience of Black women, talking about our barriers, helping us to see ourselves in a different way, see ourselves confidently, understand how to navigate things like an interview that we didn't know before, really being confident in our skills and abilities. That's what like lights me up. It's the most rewarding feeling in the world. Like I got off a coaching session today, and of course, a beautiful Black woman. And she's just so confident in her skills and what she was doing, and like ready to take on the job search, ready to level up her career. That's what I love. That's the piece that fills me up, right? I had to figure that out by paying several thousands of dollars to a branding coach, which, in hindsight is crazy. But the thing here is that here's kind of the lesson in this. A lot of times we don't listen to the message that is right in front of us because we are too focused in process or making the exact right choice, right? So back in 2018, I don't regret launching the business that I did then. But and it equipped me for that, for the business that I have today. Not going to say anything bad about that experience. But when I looked at it, the catalyst that actually launched my business was I interviewed a Black woman, and she had a really bad interview. Her interview, I was the only, at the time, I was one of two people of color in a corporate office. I was the only Black woman. We were interviewing for somebody to work on the same team that I was, and I was just so excited about like such a really qualified Black woman coming in and interviewing. She came from a different field, but she had a lot of human resources experience. I talked to her on a phone screen. It was amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to be hired. I love her. This is going to be great, right? And she came into the in-person interview with the panel, and she tanked the interview. Like, it was really bad. And I was like, I can't come back from this. Like, it was bad. We don't know anything about your skill set. She was very nervous. And it was that moment where I said, I need people to just understand how to better navigate an interview, how to better connect with somebody across the side, other side of the table, whether they're an executive or a recruiter or HR professional, or just, like an entry, I don't want to say like a first level hiring manager. And that is what started my business. A Black woman. So I really dug into that message really that I had was helping Black women, and I didn't connect with that at the time. Now, of course, I'm super connected with that now, but I didn't. And so this is my piece, absolutely, that I say to you of just follow the journey. It will eventually lead you to where it is, but also to really listen to yourself and what's calling you in this moment. That could be intuition. That could be the experience that really spurred this on, what you're passionate about talking about. Listen to those things and it will help you move forward. Okay. Catching up. Ooh, Ginger said that's the part I'm trying to figure out. There are women in my industry who are trying to juggle these things. There's also not many schools that provide higher ed in the events industry. Okay. So Ginger, it could be that you are creating could be creating a business that's helping other Black women thrive in the events industry, whatever that means. Maybe they're doing that in corporate. Maybe they're starting their own events organization. Maybe you're primarily serving Black women who need help with their events, right? Maybe, I don't know, let's say there wants to be, I'm not even joking. One day, it ain't today. It's probably not even the next year because that takes so much. But right, one day, my biggest goal is to have a career love retreat. Black women just come, heal from the workplace trauma, have a good time, talk about the future, get excited about their career, get filled up, get guidance, get coaching live on site. But ultimately in a way that fills up our cup. Maybe I need that help. So those are just thoughts. Lean into what feels good. Oh, tea, herbs, and mycology. Wait a second. Who said that? Sabrina. Wait, Sabrina, this is different. Okay, but this is still. Oh, okay. Wait. A business in tea, herbs, and mycology. I feel like people would pay for that. Like they want to understand because I don't get it. Okay. Precious said data analyses. I want to teach people how to leverage data for impact, but also hair, all things Black hair care. Okay, so what about data in Black hair care? What about, okay, so what's coming to mind now? We're gonna roll on in a couple minutes. I'm stop giving out business ideas. But okay, what about Black women who, it's interesting, right? Because there's this idea in Black beauty right now that we can't really trust our products. How do we know that we can trust our products? How does data connect with that? Is it a consumer or is it a business? How can we better communicate the data around proper hair care or safe hair care? You know, all that stuff with the braiding hair and how much information was out around there? Okay. Oh, Also, a team to attract seniors who rely on me to help them guide them through healthcare. Okay, a business idea, period. Okay, thank you for the grants. Do you have a virtual business card? Okay, making some business connections in the chat period. And first, I attract people who want me to connect them to scholarships, fellows, as well as teach them about grad school process. Okay, sis, you got me thinking now. Mm, bring those passions together. See how they intersect, right? Okay, yes, I will answer that at the end, Anima. I see your question about the scholarship. Okay. Oh. Okay, epiphanies. Period epiphanies. Okay, about business. Interesting. Okay, so you know what I'm saying? Like you know your space more than I do. I'm just throwing out things that are coming together. My brain just connects things, okay? So take from this and go for it. Okay? And I'm gonna talk about the next things. Okay. So after you've got kind of maybe some connections between these two ideas, start putting them together. Do some brainstorming. You know how you used to, have those little exercises and there was everything on the left and everything on the right, and you had to connect the things that are connecting. Maybe you just do a list of two of those things and start connecting them, right? Whatever. Like, see how it kind of all works out if you start connecting all of those things, right? And so the next part is that once you kind of figure out those connection points, you have to really understand who are you speaking to, right? So that was kind of, and I'm obviously just throwing things out there about data and hair, right? But let's say that was the case. Maybe we're having some type of business that really helps, I don't know, hair care um, companies better evaluate or use data to sell. And so in this case, your audience, who you're talking to, is a hair care brand. Now I'm just throwing all sorts of things out there. But in my case, right, I'm speaking to Black women. I'm speaking to what Black women need. I'm wanting to understand that based on my experience. But my experience isn't the only experience. We all experience different things in our job search and our careers and navigating the world as Black women, right? But my goal is to understand the trend of experiences, right? And so if you're here on this webinar, you've probably seen a piece of my content where I was talking about the challenges that we have and things that we go through as Black women in the workplace. And so you're here, right? And so that was my thing, to be able to authentically understand and speak to my audience. And that's what I want you all to do today. I want you to think about your audience and what they need. We're going to talk about this idea of jobs to be done. Now, jobs to be done is literally one way in a plethora of ways to figure out how to really understand your audience. But I figured let's just keep it simple. Let's pick one for today, which is jobs to be done. If you are here, you have a notebook, this is one that you need to write down. Jobs to be done. Okay. And so once you have that audience, and in my case, it's Black women, you have to ask yourself, what jobs do they need to be done? What do they need to have done? How can you help them with that need? How does your service or even your product, right, provide value to them in order to help them do that job? Now, there are a variety of different levels of jobs to be done, right? Which is thinking, okay, how do I support this maybe at an entry level? How did maybe they work with me a little bit more and like I provide a little bit more support? And so I'm helping them along with the job. Or it could be like the highest level of like, I'm doing everything for you, like a done for you service, right? Those are all the different ways that we can kind of think about. I mean, there's a variety of different ways, but how do we think about that, right? And so if I take myself for an example, I see lots of questions or thoughts. So I'm going to look at those. But if we have any questions or thoughts, right, about, okay, so let me know if you have any questions or thoughts. But I'm going to go into my story, which is if I'm a career coach, right, and I hear one of the biggest challenges that people have is building a resume, right? How that's their job to be done. They have to write a resume. And so I could be, and I've done this, right? Okay. And I do this. What am I talking about, girl? Okay. If I have somebody that maybe is the lowest level of helping them, maybe I provide them a resume template, right? Maybe their job to be done is that they need to edit their resume in a visually appeasing way. So that's the job that I help them do. And then the second part is, oh, okay, well, maybe they don't, even though they have a template, maybe they don't want to write the resume. Maybe they're not really sure about the bullets, right? So maybe I'm actually helping them with branding and the content on their resume. Okay, that's another job to be done that I could address, right? And I do that with coaching. And then maybe the highest level of jobs to be done is that I actually write my client's resume on their behalf to help them completely eliminate that as a job that they have to do. And likely that's going to be the highest priced item that I'm offering because I'm doing the job for them, right? So I know we don't necessarily know what we've got going on business wise, but based on some of the ideas that you've got going on, pick one and then drop one job to be done in the chat. Ooh. Okay, there's stuff going on here. Okay. Interesting. Tamara said it's not just the data, it's having third-party testers that period. Tamara. Yeah, because we're tired of the problems with black hair care. Wait, who is this grad school person you talked to? Wait, who said the grad school person? I don't remember. Scroll up in the chat. I'm sorry. I'll have to find the connection later if you didn't find it. Oh, Sabrina. Okay. Sorry, Sabrina. Okay, that's definitely something that should be discussed more. We can do this. Period. Hey, girl. Hey, would definitely pay for that service. Okay, Precious. See? Okay. Ideas. Okay. Ooh. Oh, okay. All right, Precious. Oh, okay. So Precious, I actually like that this came up when it came up. Because us as Black women, we don't like being getting paid for stuff, and we're uncomfortable with it. And I would say that's the case for me, right? Even if somebody's growing a business, sometimes selling is uncomfortable. Sometimes putting a dollar sign on our work and our effort is uncomfortable. Oh, okay. Precious, we're talking about it. That's what we're talking about. So Precious said, if you can't see on YouTube, Precious said, how did you start connecting with your first pool of clients? Period. That's what we're talking about next. Oh, okay. Levangela said, I offer an AI prompt guide for clients to use to get guidance on how to update their resume. Period. Ginger said, I can create the frameworks to follow along with, put in place for companies and partner with others to get in the weeds of implementing. Okay. Is that for the events one, Ginger? Because Ginger, were you the person that was saying you were talking with older people? Oh, no. That's Kimberly. Oh, you were the mom. You were talking about the moms. Okay, well, I mean, keep your stuff to yourself, but you know. But yes, be specific too of like what is the framework too. Okay, so you have this jobs to be done, right? This is how, looking back on everything that I learned in my business and as I was building it, one of the things that I did too early was I started with a product. And a product, whether it is really a service or something that you sell as a product, like a digital course or a guide, um, it's in some ways already crafted and created with a set goal, strategy, messaging, branding in mind, right? Because you have to put it out there. And the thing about it is that until we really start talking to our people, which is what Precious is talking about, finding my first pool of clients, until you really start talking to your people, it's hard to really know what's going to resonate or what's going to connect with them, right? Even after you've gotten really big, right? We see big brands taking missteps all the time. And there's a reason for that, okay? It's because we don't always know how, or we don't spend enough time really getting to know our consumers, what they want, their values, and things like that. The best way, in my opinion, to really start off is really by connecting one-on-one with people who are your potential clients based on what you're talking about. So in my case, and this is important, I can't remember if it was Alicia or Fem, sorry if I'm mixing you up, on YouTube, that were basically like, yeah, people were reaching out to me about this. So a lot of times, if we're talking about what we're passionate about, what we know about, our expertise, people who want that information are going to connect with us, right? And in my case, I started off with ads, right? I was running Facebook ads. So one of the things that I did is I had an ad that was going to like a discovery call. That was actually one of my first clients who referred, I think, 2 or 3 more clients to me. That was the beginning of the catalyst of really figuring out my business. And it was actually a Black man, but he referred actually quite a few Black women. And that really helped me to better understand my branding. That being said, it wasn't until I had a discovery call with him, I understood what his needs were, what some of the challenges were. I got to talk and get the best market research ever, because I got to talk to my ideal client one-on-one and actually have them build the service or the product that they wanted. So I didn't already have some product when I was doing this that was already predefined. Actually, one of the things that my very first clients really loved about me is that it was quote unquote bespoke to them. It was customized. It was one-on-one. It felt personal. And that's true whether you're in my one-on-one clients or you're in my community. But that being said, I'm a person who does relationships. But that being said, that's what they loved about me. That helped me understand my brand. It helped me understand what they needed. And so then, based on that discovery call with that individual from that Facebook ad, I was better able to understand, okay, hey, this is what's needed. This is what they discussed as their challenges, their barriers, and how they would like to work with me, right? I didn't have to think any of that up. I didn't have to figure it out. They just told me that, okay? But you might say, okay, Mercedes, but you were doing Facebook ads. I don't got Facebook ads money. You don't need Facebook ads money. The last time I paid for an ad was probably 2020. I don't pay for ads anymore. Okay. And you might say, oh, well, it's because you're bigger now. You have more of a platform. No, I built the platform from scratch with completely new branding. Okay. I mean, the little 100, 200, 300 followers. Okay. Yeah, sure. That was there. But no, everything's been built from scratch now with this branding. Okay. And so what do? I get online and I talk about the experiences of Black women. I talk about our challenges, what we have going on, what's holding us back, the community that we need. Tips for helping with what we've got, whether that's a toxic work environment or the experiences that we have, or even how I built my business, which we're talking about right now. And you know what happens? People comment, they send me messages, they go on my website and book a call. And that's all organic, right? And it's because I'm clear about my messaging, right? And so then same thing happens. I get to have a call. I get to understand what her needs are. I get to understand the challenges. And every day I'm talking to Black women. So I understand that more and more every day, because our experiences are all different, right? And so being able to connect one-on-one with your ideal client, that person who has a job to be done, and you get to really dive in and figure out what is a job to be done. Let's get clear about it. And I get to build you a customized package based on that, right? So one of the things, yes, build a community. We're going to talk about that community, right? But that being said, I got to really understand. And that got to be a huge part of my marketing, my branding. And it doesn't mean that I'm not showing up as my authentic self. Authenticity is a baseline, okay? But what I'm saying is I got to really understand and connect, right? And that is so, so important for you building a product or a service that somebody else is going to buy, right? They have to feel heard and seen, and that their needs will be met and whatever you provide to them. And so that is the thing. So in terms of your Black woman brilliance, to get really clear here, thank you for the hearts. To get really, really clear here, you have your Black woman brilliance, what you know you can do, what you can teach others, what people come to you for. You define who you're speaking to. What is that message and how are you contacting them? And 3, how can you connect with them? Where are you going to connect with them, right? And how are you going to invite them into a conversation with you? Or how are you going to reach out to them for a conversation? You know, like some of the girlies do the outreach, right? Some people want the inbound or whatever, right? And so then based on that, you are able to really create this space in which you are really learning a lot, so that one, you can create a one-to-one service with that first pool of clients, precious. Okay? In order to implement. But then the cool thing about this, and this is true about me and my business today, those one-to-one packages that I was really tired of creating and rethinking and blah, 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 came really systematic, because I was like, oh, they need this, 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 and this is this. And maybe they need part of this and part of this and part of this. But when I put it all together, it created the comprehensive career love community that I have today, and also my 90-day coaching program that I have today. Okay, so y'all know where I'm going with this, but we're not there yet, okay? But all of the needs and the conversations and what I was understanding about what Black women needed went into the program. So then it was a lot easier for me to launch a program that resonated, because I already talked to my ideal client and I got to know them in a real intimate way, because I was coaching them, speaking to them. Okay, I'm really feeling like I'm drilling it in. But let me know if this makes sense. So if you're here, we're going to talk about some of the more freelance work. So if you were here and you were like, hey, Mercedes, I love this comprehensive business building, but also I'm in a space where I really need to get some cash. And I think this is where that money, that money as a limiting belief mindset, we will talk about that now. So before we do that though, I want you to know tell me what's one way that maybe you can speak to somebody who you feel like is in your audience right now. One way. And like spoilers, I'm doing that right now. What's one way? And again, it can be an outreach. It can be something that you're posting or creating so that they're reaching out to you, a resource that you're providing to them. Yeah. Tell me. Ooh, it's a little quiet. Are y'all typing? Are you thinking? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Ooh, y'all are a little quiet. I'm gonna wait another minute. Oh, am I frozen? Oh, relatability. Wait, but how are you talking to them? So yes, relatability for sure, but how are you relating to them? Like how are you reaching out? Okay, Alicia said I could do outreach via a live or ad on my Substack page, period. Kalila said authentic. Oh, Erica said, can you repeat the question? Okay, so you have an audience, right, that you're trying to get to know so that you can build an offer for them. Build something for you to connect with them, to speak with them so that you can sell something to them that's directly related to your conversation. How can you connect with them? Right? And so for me, my example is I'm on a webinar connecting with y'all right now. Spoilers. Not the question. I'm sorry. Okay, Anima says streaming to your audience on multiple platforms, period. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm connecting with y'all. I'm learning about what y'all need. A little meta. I'm not creeping on y'all for real. But yeah. Okay, let's see. How else can you reach out or connect with your audience? I love that you all are asking questions. Okay. I'm gonna let y'all keep thinking. I still want to hear what you have in the chat, but I'm gonna go to the next little segment. So if you are here, I know we do have some individuals in this online community that have been impacted by layoffs, right? And have some scarcity around what their, the future of their employment and things like that. And so if that is your case, I want you to think about this, that you always have a skill set. If Nicole is on, Nicole Palmer will talk about this until she's blue in the face. And I love that for her and for us, right? No one can take your skill set away. No one can take away what you have learned, what you are able to do. And that means at this time, you are always, 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 always able to monetize your skill set. And when we're in a space where, one, maybe we are trying to have some additional streams of revenue, or two, maybe we do need to try and be in a space where we can make some additional cash quickly. There are always there's the freelance and the gig economy that I feel like not all of us really see as valid forms of employment, right? But there are a lot of people right now on the internet making lots and lots of money just freelancing, right? And so I'm going to tell you this story of like a weird connection of this, right? So in the way that I built my business right now, I might do some HR gigs later for laughs and giggles if I feel like there's some HR consulting. That's not really what I'm focused on right now. So I'm not necessarily speaking from this of like personal experience with going to this, but I'm going to tell you this from the other side, from the employer side, of why this is always going to be something that is going to be helpful. And particularly in our changing economy and layoffs, and honestly, all the tariffs and difference in labor budgets and everything like that, that it has always been there's always been a really thriving, strong gig economy, but I think that we'll start to see more shifts that way. And whether it's because of necessity or just because of the terrible job market, I think it will continue. And so there are a lot. Oh no, not severance loading. Oh, okay, not severance loading. Okay, we're replacing the severance with some freelance or gig economy work. And so I say all of this to say, like, I'm going to list just two, but literally do a Google search. You can do one in your industry, in your field of your areas of expertise. But the two that I most often let clients know to look into is Upwork and Flex Jobs. But you can find contract work on any platform almost, right? There's a lot of contract work that I see on LinkedIn, on Indeed, but those are the two that I think are more like focused on that, right? Flex Jobs and Upwork. And a lot of times we discount those as places that we can look because we feel like they're not really good employment opportunities. But your ability to kind of build this portfolio, right? So maybe there is something that is a more of a B2B service that you are thinking about. That gives you a really great way to have a structured place to find potential leads for your gig job. And it gives you a place to be able to build a portfolio and to start to figure out how to position your skills in this space, right? And so on my end, from the HR side, I had a big project at an employer that I was working for. They needed a copywriter, right? They actually needed a copywriter who was skilled in human resources. At the time, I was like, copywriting human resources? Like, who's out there doing that? Whose skill set is that? I don't know. But I guess, you told me to come, like, you told me that's who you need to hire. So I guess I'm going to figure it out. So your girl did figure it out, right? And she started looking for freelance HR copywriters on LinkedIn. I think I can't remember which one I looked at. Was it like Freelancer or something? Oh, Freelancer is the other one I looked at. This is like a couple of years ago. I think like in 2021. But yeah, so I ended up going and I didn't go posting. I went through profiles and was just trying to find the right candidate. So I reached out, and to my surprise, there was a bunch of candidates out there that focus in on human resources copywriting. I was just naive. Okay. And so if there can be somebody that's out there that says, hey, I really focus in on HR benefits and copywriting, and they can get a job and have somebody reaching out trying to find them for a very particular job, so can you based on your skill set. So this is what I'll say. If you are building that business and this type of freelancer gig work is going to help you get to stability, or it is going to be something that allows you to test out your skills and understand more about your potential client, do it. Okay, find it. I can't list enough potential places to look for these types of jobs, and that could be by industry, or you could look at broader ones. But like I said, I'm throwing out Upwork and Flex Jobs, right? So we don't have to Uber. Okay, we can still do remote work. Okay, and I don't know if Nicole is asleep because I can't see if the person that said Upwork is awesome is Nicole or not. But that being said, there's lots of options for you. Okay, so let me go through the chat really quick. Oh, okay, Precious. So Precious said basic data work like intro to AR to R workshops at a discounted price for free resources like a cheat sheet. Okay, cool. Yes. And that can be upsold into something that you sell them, Precious, period. Currently I've been posting frameworks and behind the scenes on how I do what I do. So I've been receiving DMs to connect. Okay, Ginger. Pick your brains. I was just talking to a beloved person. The beloved person wants to call themselves out. They can, about the pick your brain thing, right? And so I think that's why it's important for us to have structure, right? So I do have calls where people potentially feel like they're getting on the call to like pick my brain, which like happens, right? I do clarity calls. We all don't have to do clarity calls, right? We could do discovery forms. We could, send over the rate card, whatever feels authentic to you, right? But I do like having conversations with my potential clients because I want to understand who they are, what their goals are, and I want to talk to them, right? And so in this case, right, I do have clarity calls and I give out some free information, right? I share a little bit of guidance, right? But I also know at the end of the day, like our 15-minute call isn't going to change somebody's life, and it isn't going to take a lot out of my day, right? And so I change those pick my brain calls to discovery calls that are sales calls, right? And again, that's a way that you're able to like talk to your audience, get an understanding, and also say, oh, okay, I share a little bit of guidance here and like wishing you the best. If you want to work together, here's how to do that, right? Like, so we don't have to, we get stressed out about the pick my brain calls, but like we're the one who lets the pick my brain calls happen. Okay. So severance. Okay, I already read that. Sorry. No severance loading. Okay. Sometimes for my YouTube, sometimes I get recommended similar content by what I watch. Tell me more about how that's connecting with your clients in Nima. Is that because you see other content that's doing well for potential clients? Okay. Me, Erica, currently unemployed. I create now and going forward streams of income. Okay. In my initial state, because of the clientele I would be targeting, would be visiting locations when seniors congregate. Yes, absolutely. Nursing homes, volunteer events. I also wonder, Kimberly, like, is there a space where there are individuals who might be looking online for like resources for their elderly parents, and like whether there's actually your ability to post things online that people who maybe they're not caregivers, but they do have elderly family in their lives, and what resources are they looking at, and then maybe there's services for that. Okay, yes, Precious. I already got some money from Upwork. Okay, Rat Race Rebellion. Yes, I've heard that one. Okay, I'm sorry if that all of the things are empty. Okay, so I'm gonna start answering questions. So if there's any questions that you have for me, let me know. But while I'm waiting to see if there's any questions below as they come in, I want to invite all of you to join me in my Career Love community. So my community, oh, now I see it's Nicole. Thank you, Nicole. I knew you were there. About Upwork is awesome. It's an extreme lag over here. But for those of you who are there who really felt like you have benefited from the information that I shared today about launching your business, my goal is for more Black women to be able to launch their business, right? And I have created an entire community dedicated to support you in that journey that also provides a safe space, provides coaching like we've done today, provides guidance, and provides other Black women working with you with this in a higher way. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to drop the link in the chat to join the community, take a look at it, and see if it's something that you would like to join. Okay. And I'm posting it in there because I feel like if you are in a space where you have really learned a lot today and you want to go more, you actually want to implement, you want the accountability, you want more one-on-one guidance like some of y'all got today. Okay. I would highly recommend that you join the community. It is a space that is still actually pretty intimate. It's a space where we're coming together, feeling inspired, getting the resources to move forward and get clear on what our business is, actually launch it. And so the way that the community supports you in that is that one, there's a training portal. So essentially all of the things I'm talking about today to help you launch your business, I have training portals I have training videos in the community right now that you can access to do that. It's things about getting clear about your audience, things that we talked about today. It is things about building your offer and understanding what's a part of an offer. It's things about branding and understanding how that's connected to your offer, which is a lot of the things about what we talked about today about monetizing your brilliance, right? And it's also for those of you who are like, oh, I cannot build this business without money. And I feel like honestly that I'll really get into this right now because it's a limiting belief, right? I know people in this space who have legitimately launched a business on a Google Doc. Google Drive is free. They have set up a payment processor, which is technically not free, but they take a fee out of the money once it's already been paid. Okay? Stripe, PayPal. Okay? And they have gotten on calls and provided the service through Google Drive, which is also free. And they have made money from that. And then that money was able to be used to actually create the website, right? So if we don't stop getting out of our own way and putting the barriers in our business growth, then it's one of the ways that we're not able to move forward with that, right? Every barrier is another day that we stay away from our dreams, right? And so what I want to encourage you today is we were talking through some of these things today, right? What is the connection between your business, right? How do all of these things connect, right? But the next step is being able to actually implement those things. And that's the barrier that a lot of us face, right? A lot of us say, oh, we want to build the business, which I was there, right? But like, how do we do that, right? And so that's what I'm doing in the community. That's what I'm helping Black women to do and be able to move forward with and truly build a life that gives them the stability. And I'll tell you this right now. Okay, I'll tell you this right now. In, what was it, November, when we knew that orange man was going to be what we were dealing with for the next 4 years, when we knew that, I know that there are so many DEI professionals today, right now, that were totally panicked about losing their jobs. And to be honest, many of them did lose their jobs, right? They are still losing their jobs. People, anyone that had any type of thing to do with DEI, whether it was actually DEI or just human services, because we know what that is, right? Lost their job. In November, I was actually not worried about losing my job because I already knew I had an exit plan. And I say that this is so powerful because what piece is there to know that you don't need that job? That nobody could ever review your resume or have any interest, or you could never go to another interview ever again and be just fine and be happy. Not just fine, but living your Black woman bliss era. And that's what I want for all of you beautiful women on this call today. So I say all of that to say that, like, I'm here, I'm answering questions. If you want to be able to implement the business that we have talked about today, there is a QR code, and I have dropped the link to join the community on the website. So if you're deciding to join, you'll get my training portal. You'll get a one-on-one call with me where we'll talk through and get clarity. And I think somebody was saying, thank you. Oh, somebody was saying Career Love Community is the only place to be. And those resources were provided. And it's a way to be able to really, truly move forward in creating a business that supports your lifestyle, right? Because one of the things that I never want to do, and I'm so glad it didn't work out that way for me, okay, is that I built a business that I wasn't going to love, right? And I built a business that I love. I built a business that allowed me the stability that to be able to have the message and talk about what I do and have these webinars, right? And show up unapologetically because I don't care if they see me on social media. Okay. And so if this is what you're looking to do, go ahead and you can either scan the QR code, you can go to mercedeswan.com/join, or you can join me in the community based on the link that I put in the chat. Okay, so I'm going back to some questions that I think I might have missed. So let me know if you all have any questions. And for those of you who have decided to join me in the community, I'm really excited to work with you. And I'm really excited to help you launch this business because as Black women, I know that this type of community and this type of space and wealth building is what we're going to need to, get through the next 4 years in one piece together. Oh, thank you, Precious. Okay, so I'm catching up. So thank you for the hype in the comments. Career Love Community is the only place to be. It's lit and we have a lot of fun and it's a lot of information, and I'm there to vibe with y'all and help you cross the finish line. So one thing about me, I am all about my ladies in that community. So if you decide to join, period, it is a place to be. And there's accountability, period. So Erica said, right, multi-platforms would be surveys to get to know your audience, newsletters. Okay. And period, Erica, by the way, don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to talk to people. Okay. I'm not saying that I know some of us are like, hey, I'm going to have a service, but I'm not getting on calls. I don't mean you to operate out of your excellence, but like people love talking and sharing their stories and connecting. So don't be afraid about that. Okay. And then we have facts. Precious says, this has been amazing. I think that is Nicole that says, hope to see you there. Ginger says, I have to jump off. This is really great. You're very welcome. And then Anonymous says, what are my questions? Okay, I'm going to the questions. I was catching up to the chat. Okay, I don't think I missed any other chats. Okay, so let me go to the pin thing. So I answered Anonymous thing, concern about money. And then Alicia said, berries, I'm working on sharing my voice and trusting people will value my gifts properly. Okay, I addressed the part about the gifts. And then I have a Naima's question is the scholarship application closed? So the scholarship application is closed in the sense that I have received more applications. And so enough applications for the spots that I have, which is 5. And so, sorry if y'all heard that. So I have 5 spaces, and so I've had more than 5 applications. So anybody can always apply for the applications, but now it is technically closed and maybe it's technically a wait list because I have more individuals. So I do need to go through there and like send approvals and things like that. So I will do that. But that is where I am. So we have filled all of our application spots unless, there's somebody who wasn't a fit for whatever reason on there. Haven't looked through them yet, but that's where I am. Okay. Other questions? I'll pause and see if there's any other questions. And I'm going to try and like refresh because LinkedIn is just struggling over here. Okay. Okay. Woo! I got done in an hour and 15 minutes. Bless my heart, because I was like, oh, that last one was 2 hours. Y'all probably just let tell me stop talking. Okay. So as we're waiting, if you are like on the fence or you're not quite sure if the community is a space for you, just let me know. But I think one of the really awesome things about the community is the space that we're creating here, right? This open space, just really talking about what we experience, really having each other like provide support to each other, connect with each other, really love on each other because it's what we need in this space. And so if that's a space that you think that you want and that you need community wise, and you think that's a space that's going to help you build your business, then I would say the Career Love community is a great space for you. It is $49 a month, but if you go to mercedeswan.com/join, you'll see that there's also an option to join annually if you would like. So that means you get to save 2 months off, and then you will get your pick of one of the Career Love items that's $25 or less. So here is one of the shirts in my Career Love era, okay? And of course, you get all of the great perks and support. One of the other things that's really included with the community, well, not really included. One of the great things that's included in the community, in addition to the training portal, is also Bliss AI. So I created an entire AI system that's culturally responsive to Black women, meaning I want you to feel like you are speaking to another Black woman when you are talking to my AI, and she's speaking with you in love. She is kind to you, but she's also strategic, right? She is true Black woman excellence in the way that she is coaching you and providing support to you. And then there are also a variety of other meetups in the community that are designed to support you. So as Nicole said, there is accountability. And so I have co-working, accountability, implementation, and co-working sessions where we essentially come together and set our goals, say what we're working on. And we have kind of this safe, inclusive, productive workspace where we're able to get things done. They also have group coaching. So if you're getting stuck with anything, you want advice on what you're doing in your business, how to launch, what product, does this make sense? Do I really know my audience? Yeah, all of the meetups do that. And then, like I said, you also have the one-on-one call with me. And there is a ton of templates and resources that are going to help you, from things like goal setting and outlining your products and, really writing down and getting clear about your audience and your branding and your messaging. So, and a business plan. That's all included in the community should you choose to join today. Thank you. Yeah, I love Bliss AI. I didn't do my little slides today, but she is fabulous. She comes free with the community. And I'm going to be honest with you, I use my own chat GPT is trained on the exact same information that I include in Bliss. And so Bliss be helping me do, plan out my webinars, plan out my content, really understand what I've got going on, help me understand and analyze my offers. Yeah. Get understanding of who my audience is and how I should speak to them. Yeah. Bliss AI is that girl. Okay, so I'm catching up on the chat. So I love your energy and authenticity. Your transparency and your experience is inspiring. I need this motivation today. You are welcome, Kimberly. Thank you for coming. Oh, thank you. I think it's Nicole that's saying I'm the real deal, but it's all behind. So thank you, because it's your LinkedIn user. I think it's you and Sabrina who are LinkedIn users. I don't know. Okay, you're welcome. Yeah, it is pretty cool. Okay. I don't see any other questions in the chat. So like I said, I will give you all a few more minutes to see if you have any questions. You can ask me questions about the community if you're thinking about joining. If you have questions about anything that I addressed today, like my business, feel welcome. Bliss AI, feel welcome to let me know. But I will drop the chat, the link to join in the chat just one additional time. And of course, you can also scan the QR code if you're not like on your phone. But if you just go to mercedesswan.com /join, or just in my website, you can find it there too. You can join, and I would love to see you in the community and really excited to work with you. Yeah, if you do decide to join, and excited to support you on your journey with lots of fun ideas and clarity and strategy. Okay. I don't see any other questions. I'm going to start the countdown. I'm starting the countdown. It's the final count. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Hopefully that's not really loud and like somebody has on headphones and it's like destroying their eardrums. I apologize in advance if that hurts your eardrum. All right, ladies. Going once. Going twice. I'm probably going to get a question as soon as I finish this. Okay. Well, thank you all for joining me today. This was absolutely lovely and fabulous. I really appreciated the time to just connect with you all. Thanks for sharing your stories, throwing out your business ideas, creating this beautiful, lovely space in the comments. And I hope that no matter what you do, whether you decide to join the community or not, that you take action on some of these things. I think one of the things that has most held me back in my business, even though I'm a very action oriented, kind of like get it done kind of person, is that the lack of clarity has sometimes made me pause on taking action. And I think at the end of the day, everything learned, right? You notice how much things changed in my business, how much I shifted, how much I did differently, how much I rebuilt, like I said, and how much I also invested in my business. But I will say this is that at the end of the day, no matter what I was doing, how I was doing it, I was always pivoting and shifting how I was moving forward in my business. And I was always experimenting, and I was always okay with that. And part of that means being, oh goodness. Not us being at that time where we get the trolls on YouTube. Usually I only do that if I do vertical. That's why I stopped doing vertical lives on YouTube. Nope, I'm not going to ruin the rest of your day. Sorry if you saw that on YouTube. I'm not going to ruin everybody else's day. Anyway, that being said, I love y'all. I love this live. Thank you for showing up with me. This is the official end, the official close of the Career Love webinar series. And I hope that as we close, if this is the right fit for you, I hope to see you in the community. I adore each of you. I have so much enjoyed to get to know you. So keep, connecting, right? Even though the webinar series is over, I love this community that has been built. So I hope that you all connect. I hope that you support each other. I hope that you hype each other up in the business launch content that y'all see coming out. And I hope that each of you really connect with your audience in a deep way, which I think I've been able to do with you all over the course of this webinar series. So until next time, I hope that you have a great rest of your day, evening, week, and wishing you all the best. So I'll see you later. And to the lovely ladies who've joined the community, I will see you in there. Okay. Bye.